loves. Thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel. I am back again with another video and I am super duper excited for this one. We are going to be talking about my January wrap up, and whew, let me tell you guys. To get started, hi, my name is Gladys. If you guys are new, welcome. I post Mystery Monday videos, Bookish Thursday videos, and I do some lifestyle on Sundays. So if you guys like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below letting me know what else you guys would like to watch. But other than that, let's get started. I have my coffee right here, and I am super excited to talk about the books that I read this past month. This video will have some spoilers, so if you guys do not like that, I'm so sorry, but I will post a time where you guys can skip forward and you guys will not have to hear any spoilers. We are going to be talking about one of my most highly anticipated reads this year. It is a book that I knew instantly that I was going to love, and oh, I did. I am not going to spoil this one for you guys because I think that it's such a beautiful book that if you guys really want to read it, I just don't think I have it in me to spoil it for you guys. And that is going to be The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. And oh my god, I knew instantly when I read the summary of this book that I was going to want to read it and that it most likely was going to be one of my favorites. The book has to do with slavery in the South. We kind of get to know a couple of different characters in this book, but the main characters are two young men named Samuel and Isaiah who are in love with each other. So Samuel is known to be the most serious one. He usually has a little bit of an anger problem, whereas Isaiah is more the kind one. They talk about the fact that he has kindness in his eyes. He's more the mellow one, and they just kind of balance each other out. A lot of people in this plantation do not even know that they're together. They just kind of feel like they're really good friends, but slowly as time is going, they kind of start to uncover that they might be a little bit more than friends. Now, this story is told from a couple of different perspectives, and I know a lot of people did not like that. I loved it because it showed me other characters that may have not been that important until we see their point of view. One of them being Maggie. Maggie literally stole my heart. I'm not gonna lie. There is so much to her. She is this character who, you know, she's the slave owner's pretty much right hand. She's a cook. She does a lot of different things. When the slave owner had her babies, Maggie had to be the one to breastfeed those babies, which is completely insane to me. I was like, oh my god. But reading about Maggie and kind of seeing her point of view and the way that she saw everyone, I mean, she was so blunt when it came to people, you know what I mean? She called them out on their crap. She told them exactly what they needed to hear, but more than anything, she was Isaiah and Samuel's #1 supporter. Then of course we have Isaiah and Samuel, which were wonderful. I mean, I love these characters so much, and oh my god, I'm gonna start crying. Reading about the story, oh my god, I'm gonna start crying. I did not expect that. And about slavery and these two men that fell in love, it just literally broke my heart. I think the part that hit me the most was the fact that when I was reading about these characters and everything that they were going through, I just felt like it was so close to what a lot of people are going through today. The way they describe what they went through, what they were told, the way that, because in this book we also get the perspective of Ruth, who is the slave owner's wife, and you almost want to be like, okay, prove me wrong, but Jesus Christ, like, you just cannot do anything but hate her. It's so real to what I mean, not even me, you know what I mean? It's so real to what a lot of Black people are going through today. They're still being treated with a lot of injustice, and we see that in this book. And more than anything, god, like, you see the brightness in a lot of these people that are slaves and how they're being held captive. And there's this one part that really hit me, and it's right at the beginning of the book. It's Samuel and Isaiah laying down, and I think Samuel tells Isaiah to sleep in, and they just know that it's not possible for them to sleep in. Then they say something along the lines of, in the plantation, if they take the time to sleep in, it's considered theft. but they should not have to steal what's already theirs or what should have been theirs. And that really hit me. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting so emotional with this book. And that's because it is a very emotional book and I loved it, and I just feel like everybody should have to read this book. Now, I know it got a lot of bad reviews because of the fact of how it's told. It's told from so many different perspectives, but I just felt like that added so much to the book, that we get to read so many people. You're trying to kind of understand them and trying to see if what they think makes sense. Like Amos, one of the characters, I really wanted to be on his side. I know a couple people didn't like it. I know that they thought it was told from too many perspectives and it was complicated to read, but I loved it and I felt like it really spoke to me, and it honestly is probably gonna be my favorite book of the year. And I just feel like everybody needs to read this, and Samuel and Isaiah have such a special place in my heart. And I just think everybody should read this book. I'm telling you guys, it will not disappoint. I know it's long and it can be a little complicated to read, but I found myself to be so intrigued by these characters. And oh my god, you guys, this is his debut novel. I mean, I cannot wait to read any of the other books he comes out with, but this is amazing, amazing work. I cannot say enough good things about this book. Just read it. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about the other books. And with the rest of these books, like I said, I will be giving out spoilers because let me tell you guys. Let's start off with Off the Page by Elizabeth Kenyon. And I did not like this book. I'm just going to be completely upfront about it. I thought the cover was cute. I was really rooting for, what was her name? I was really rooting for Jane. I was like, okay, I kind of like this girl. The book is about this character named Jane who works at a coffee shop and has been trying to finish this novel for the last couple of years, and it hasn't been able to get done. Then out of nowhere, her two main characters come to life. She literally runs into her main character from her novel, Ben, and then her main character from her novel, Izzy. And we get to see her come in contact with these two characters, and they surprise her because she's not sure if they're real people and maybe she just met them somewhere else, or if she's literally freaking out and seeing them in life. So that's really what it was about. I thought that was a really cool idea. I really wanted to see what this book was about. Let's get to the spoilers, because when I found out that Ben came to life, I was like, okay, maybe she knew him somewhere. Like, I thought that maybe she was little and she met him somewhere and then she kind of hit her head and forgot. Like, I don't know. The book was really rushed. It's a small book, so it's not a long one. And I felt like from the moment that she met Ben to the moment where she stated she fell in love with him, I was like, girl, is he your character or not? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. I just felt like that was very rushed. And I was like, how's she already in love with him? Even if she created him, let's say that she did create him, how are you in love with him? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And then Izzy comes into the picture, which is her other character. And then she feels threatened by Izzy because Izzy's like this character that is loosely based on her. Like, Izzy's pretty much everything that Jane wants to be. Like, she even talks about the fact that Izzy has better hips and a better body, and and she's more outspoken and she's creative and, you know, everything that Jane is not supposed to be. And Jane at one point literally is like, I know I'm not supposed to be jealous, but, and she states something like that she didn't want Izzy to be there, or that, oh, she drops coffee on Izzy, which she did to Ben anyways, but she dropped it on Izzy on purpose so that Izzy can go to the restroom and Ben wouldn't see Izzy and Ben wouldn't fall in love with her. I mean, I was just like, girl, what is this mess? And then at the end, let's talk about the fact that all of a sudden no one could remember the characters, and it might have just been her imagination. I'm like, couldn't you just have a dream or something? Like, I don't understand. I just do not understand. I just felt like the idea of the book was pretty cool. If it was not the outcome it had, I don't know. And then there were little things that I felt like weren't really necessary. Like, she went to her parents' home, and I'm just kind of like, oh, maybe this is going to be important. Like, maybe she'll find something in the basement that will kind of explain what's going on. Nothing came out of that. And I'm just kind of like, what is going on here? What is this? loved the cover, thought it was really cute. Definitely did not like the story. I mean, I hate that I'm being so harsh on it. I honestly just, it's all right, whatever. Let's talk about The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. In this book, we have a group of characters who go on their annual like New Year's trip. Every year for New Year's, they go on a trip and they pretty much, you know, that's the time that they get back together because their lives have taken them apart. They're pretty much at the peak of their lives. You know, they're married, they're having kids, they're at the peak of their careers. They come back this one time of the year and they literally hang out and make memories so that they can look back on. This group of friends mostly met at Oxford University, but a lot of them met when they were younger. This year, one of the girls, Emma, she's actually the one to put it all together, and she gets a cabin in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they literally don't have Wi-Fi. They get snowed in, and then all of a sudden, one of them ends up dead. And they are all pointing the finger at one another. And let me tell you, it was good. It was fun. The ending was kind of dumb, but it was a good, fun book. I really liked it. It got me into that super winter mood. I thought that the author did an amazing job at describing the location. She also really did this thing where she crossed a lot of the similarities between humans and animals. I found that to be super intriguing. I really like that. Now, again, this story is told from so many perspectives, and in this case, it did not work for me. I didn't really feel like a couple of the characters were necessary. I just felt like if we eliminated a couple of these characters, like their perspectives, we would have been even more intrigued. I felt like the characters were very complex, and she really got me in with that. Like, I really, really loved the characters, but I just felt like eliminating a couple of the perspectives would have been great for the story. And regardless, I feel like she did an amazing job at describing the location. Like, I could literally picture to a T. Now, let's get into the spoilers. In the story, we get a couple of different people. We get the perspectives of Heather, who's the actual manager of the lodge, of the location where the cabins are. Then we have the perspective of Doug, who is kind of like the handyman. He's the one who gets people back and forth. Then we have the perspective of Miranda. She's like so it's crazy, but Miranda really, when they describe Miranda and her charisma, I got, if you guys watch Selling Sunset, I got Christine. Like, that is literally who I pictured as Miranda. She has like that bougie lifestyle. She's very like cutthroat. She'll get to you. She's the life of the party. And that's exactly how I imagined Miranda as Christine from Selling Sunset. Is that her name? Yeah, Chriselle's the other one. And then we have Katie, who is Miranda's best friend, and she's also the lawyer. And then we have Emma, who is dating Mark. She's the newest one to the group, and she's kind of becoming Miranda's best friend since Katie and Miranda don't see each other much. Now, there are a lot of things that we discover in this book. First of all, we discover that Miranda has had a stalker for years. So that right away when I was reading that, I'm like, oh, Miranda's gonna be the one to die. And you guys, she did. Obviously, if you're watching the spoiler, you know that. Miranda is the one that ends up dead, but we don't find that out till almost the end. Like, they're literally, in the beginning, they tell you that there's a body that was found, but we don't know until the end. And I right away knew that she was going to be the one to die. There were a lot of things that she had, like her good and bad qualities, but I almost felt like her bad overcame her good. I'm not saying she was a bad person. I just knew that she was very selfish and that she was most likely going to be the one to die. I honestly felt like if we would have gotten Heather, Miranda, and even Emma's perspective, we would have been good. But then, because they were trying to make Doug kind of like one of the people that was bad. We knew he had a bad record to him. We knew that he was kind of trying to get away from his life back in the city. But reading Doug's perspective, we were like, oh, he didn't do it. Like, this guy is, I don't know, he just didn't give me that vibe. And I just felt like if we wouldn't have gotten Doug's perspective and probably just everyone else's, we were like, oh, that's a possibility. And then tell me if I'm wrong, but Doug's like they kind of make it seem like he did a really bad thing, which I'm guessing he did. When it got to the point where they describe him, I don't know if he like choked someone or tried to fight someone, I was like, oh, that's it? Like, I really thought he killed this dude. But I don't know, that was just me. I don't know, I might have just not picked up what it was really telling me. I don't know. Then we have Heather, who obviously is trying to get away. We find out that her husband passed away and she tried to get away from that life. I just felt like there wasn't a lot of importance to her, but like she was an important person in this book because she did find the body, or she did go with Doug to find the body. I feel like she was someone that we could have had there and maybe played it up more that she found Doug to be odd, because she almost was really into Doug, and I get that that was a point. I just didn't really feel like it did anything. Then we have Katie, who is I was gonna call her Christine, Miranda's best friend from her childhood. Like, they've known each other for years. Katie ends up getting involved with Miranda's husband, Julian. They end up like getting together and having a baby. I honestly felt like her perspective was completely unnecessary. If anything, I felt like they brought her in so that she could shine light on Miranda's bad behavior, but I felt like she was not even a character I liked. I didn't like any of these characters, to be completely honest with you. I just felt like Katie was, one, boring, two, super judgmental. She kind of played victim. Like, she tried to be the one who was like, oh, well, I was always there for Miranda, but now I'm not. She's like this, she's that. And I'm like, okay, are you her friend or are you not her friend? And let me just say something. This whole group of friends, they were toxic. Like, Jesus Christ. I was like, okay, you guys should not be seeing each other anymore. Then we have Emma, who is Mark's girlfriend. She ends up being Miranda's stalker and her killer. And I really like that. I feel like that was a really, really good idea to the story, but I felt like they could have played it up way more. Like, you know what I mean? I just felt like if we would have gotten her point of view instead of Katie's, we would have made her, I felt like she was pointing the finger at Katie, but she could have done it even more, and that would have brought so much more to the story. But again, I really liked this book. I thought it was a really fun read. I did see on here that, because this is my first novel from Lucy, but I did see on here that, or I did see on the reviews that she has other stories similar to this. So if that's the case, I don't really feel like I'm going to keep reading her books for that purpose, but I just felt like little things could have changed the story to bring out so much more to it. But it was a fun read. I really liked it. The ending was stupid though, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know, I recommend this one. Oh, you know what, I was gonna talk about one of my favorite ones, but I'm gonna talk about one that kind of disappointed me, and that's gonna be Layla by Colleen Hoover. This is Colleen Hoover dipping her toes into the genre of thriller, and it's not really a thriller. I want to say it's more of a, I don't really even want to call this one a thriller, because it's really not. It's a little bit more romance, but it does have that suspense to it. And oh man, I am so sad because I know a lot of people are not gonna agree with me, but that's not why I'm here. I did not like it. I gave it 3 stars or 3.5 stars. And let me tell you guys, this story is about a character named Leeds that kind of has a life where he doesn't really know what he wants to do. He's not really happy with anything. Nothing really brings him joy until he meets Layla. When Leeds goes to play at a wedding, he ends up meeting Layla there, and they pretty much fall head over heels in love. They actually stay at the Airbnb where his band played, where Layla's sister had her wedding. And then Layla goes home with him, and literally like within months, they're inseparable. And then something happens to Layla that completely changes her life, and Layla is never the same again. Leeds ends up taking Layla back to the Airbnb because it's about to be sold, and he is trying to kind of get them back to where they used to be, and it doesn't really work. There are a lot of things that start happening in the Airbnb that super freaks him out, and it changes them like even more. Like, it changes their life completely. So the story did have me intrigued from the beginning. I'm not gonna lie about that. I really wanted to know what the heck was going on in this Airbnb, but I was more intrigued about what was going on than what was happening to the characters. I right away felt like the beginning was way too rushed, in no way, shape, or form did I even care about Leeds. Like, he felt like such an arrogant character to me. And I was like, okay, Leeds, I really don't care what's happening with Layla. And even Layla herself, I was like, girl, I really like you, but I want to know more about you. And I didn't. If anything, I just wanted to know what was going on. And then the ending, I don't know, I just felt like it was so quick and so, okay, well, here we go. You know what I mean? And I think that's a tricky part about thriller, suspense, any of those genres. They usually disappoint in the end because it's not what you would want it to be. It's either A, super like out of nowhere, or two, exactly what you would think it is. It has to be right in the middle, and this one just didn't do it for me, honestly. And I'm so sad because it's probably one of the only Colleen Hoover books I did not like. But again, there were certain parts where I was very, very like excited about. There were things that like, I remember at one point the hairs in the back of my neck stood up. I was like, oh shit, okay, let's see what's going on here. And that's what really got me. And I was super scared. Like, I remember I told my fiance, can you lock the doors? And he's like, I did. I'm like, just double check because I'm really scared. But let's get into the spoilers. I'm a believer in ghosts. I really am. I feel like I witnessed some stuff, and I am. But I don't know how I feel about this story. At the beginning, when Leeds and Layla go back to the Airbnb, or the bed and breakfast, and then Leeds kind of starts experiencing things, and then the whole point of Layla walking up to the camera and switching it, that really freaked me out. I was like, oh shit, okay, something's going on here. But in the end, when Leeds was doing questionable things to Layla to speak to Willow, I was like, Leeds is a shitty ass fucking person. Even in the end, when we knew what was going on, when we knew that Layla was the spirit he was talking to, and the Layla that he was living with was not actually Layla, I was like, okay, but still, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just felt like Leeds was not the person that you wanted him to be, and almost like he didn't deserve Layla. And literally everything that happened to Layla was because of him. He had this stalker that shot Layla, and then Layla ended up being like, you know, she died, but then she came back to life, and then her spirit wasn't in her body. It was the other girl's spirit. I forgot the other girl's name. I just felt like, oh my god. And then the fact that the sister came back towards the end and she saw Layla's wrist, and I mean, it wasn't Layla, but it was the other girl. I just felt like, how are you going to explain that away? Because in the end, you know, they're like, oh, well, her sister still doesn't trust me, but one day it'll change. What if it doesn't? You know what I mean? I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't what I wanted in the book, and I wish Leeds was a completely different character. I wish he was someone that really, really deserved Layla, and he really wasn't the person to me. Like, honestly, I did not fall in love with this character at all. Layla, I felt like I didn't really even know her, not even through Willow, who ended up being her. I just felt like she was this free spirit, and she was kind of the girl that knew so many different facts, but who was really Layla? Like, I never really got that from her, and that's why I felt like I did not connect with these characters. And in the end, I didn't care about what was happening with them. I really just wanted to know what the hell was happening because I was curious, not because I was rooting for them. Again, I'm super sad because I really love Colleen, but this was just not it for me. But it's all right. The next book was a book that was gifted to me by one of my really good friends, Bianca, and I'm so sad that I waited so long to read this book, because let me tell you guys something. It was beautiful. It is a very well-known book, and if you guys have not read it, I highly recommend it, and that is going to be The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And this book is beautiful. So the book surrounds a young kid that is a sheep owner. Yeah, he's a sheep owner, and he literally travels beyond his borders of Spain for his work. He keeps having these dreams where he's seen a treasure that needs to be uncovered by him, and he knows his dreams are telling him something. Then he ends up being told that he needs to go to the pyramids of Egypt to find that treasure. On his journey to the pyramids of Egypt, he finds so many different people that help him in his journey. Some that don't really offer him much, but their own history that's made them the person that they are. this story was so beautifully told. Literally, I'm telling you guys, I mean, I tapped it so much, but at one point, I think I literally highlighted like half of a page because there's so, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take this off. There's so much wisdom to this book. Everything this character was going through is very similar to what a lot of us go through. Like literally, like I'm highlighting so much of the book. Ugh. The boy that owns the sheep is named Santiago, and he is so smart and so kind, and he took everything that he learned from everyone. Not even people were not even having to tell him things. He would watch and see things with his own eyes and learn from it. And I just felt like there was so much beauty in the way that he saw life and in the way that he explained things. Like when he came into contact with certain people and he will learn from them, even when he didn't learn from them, he would tell them, I literally do not know what you're trying to tell me, or how am I supposed to know that? And everything he would learn, he would, I don't know, it was just amazing, you guys. Like I literally cannot describe this book enough because it was so beautiful and it was so beautifully told, and it was literally like poetic. But more than anything, I felt like so many of the lessons that he had gone through are things that we go through as humans. Sometimes we question things and the answer is right in front of us. Like we just need to open our eyes and really pay attention to the life that we are surrounded with and the world that we see. Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it. I was going to do it, but I'm not, because I really, really, really want people to read this book. It's such a beautiful book, so beautifully told, and I'm looking forward to reading more from this author because I know he has other books out. I'm very, very familiar with the author. I just have never read his work, so highly recommend. So that's it, you guys. That's all I read in this month of January. So I did tell myself this year that I wanted to take more time reading the material that I have in front of me. I wanted to really comprehend and take in what I was reading. I really do not want to rush the books that I'm reading just to put content out there. I just feel like that's not really something that I want to do. Sometimes I feel like it's very, very common in a lot of the YouTubers and booktubers to just read and put stuff out there, but I really want to comprehend what I'm reading and take in what I'm reading more than anything. So if this is not enough for you guys, then I'm sorry. I just really want to enjoy and read a couple of different materials. I felt like this month was really good. I know that I didn't like a couple of them, but the ones that I did like really, really changed my life. And yeah, so I hope you guys like that. If you guys have any other questions or concerns, please comment them down below. Remember to like and subscribe. That really helps me out. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and take care.